Um, I am out and about, and I thought I'd do a live cast since I haven't done anything in a while. So I'm gotta wash the car and gotta go see the eye doctor because my eyes have not been what they should be lately. See, I don't have anyone here yet because this was unannounced. But that's how busy I've just been lately and preoccupied. As soon as I get some people in, I'll jump in on one of the subjects. I think I have three subjects I want to go over really quickly. Um, One of them has to do with the BRICS and the monetary system. I keep hearing a lot about that. The other one has to do with there's just so much going on, from the Budweiser thing with the transgender, the Budweiser boycott, and then a little bit on the Russia thing. The Russia ruble is back to pre-war numbers, so it's not bad. It's come down from the high it had been in, and then I heard some people, they're just ragging on the ruble right now that it's doing terrible. It's back to where it was before the war started, so it's not really terrible. It goes further down than that, and you can have some economic concerns. But considering that, considering all the sanctions that have been laid on Russia, the Russian economy has been relatively doing pretty well, I think. Again, so no one's come in. I know this was just kind of a surprise on a Saturday morning, so I don't expect too many people to log in. Maybe in the I'll leave it up a while and people click in. Myself here, I'm heading off to, like I said, to get the car wash, and I was going to head over to the Croc store, the sandal store. Go buy some sandals. I have something called plant or something. I mean, my feet hurt. From time to time, my feet hurt, and I need a good pair of squishy sandals just to walk around indoors inside the house. I'm wearing some right now too. The BRICS things. So the BRICS is catching fire, and I think that the BRIC nations, Brazil, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, plus a few other nations that want to jump into the BRICS. This economic alliance of nations, which could partially, in part, translate into a military alliance of need. Meaning, if those nations militarily, if they unite well enough economically, they will have a motivation to support each other militarily, which to an extent it is happening. There, some of the economic aid that Russia is getting during the war could be translated as military aid. But this is a threat to NATO, to the Western Alliance nations. Basically, the old New World Order that was exclusively dominated by the Western powers, that empire is coming to an end. The BRICS nations are beginning to talk about, either they already agreed on it, or they're beginning to talk about coming up with their own currency to challenge the dollar. From what I read, there's been talk about the yuan taking over the dollar, and I heard one guy, I didn't want to agree with him. He seemed to be kind of anti-Russian, anti-BRICS, but he made good points, and I got to accept the truth wherever I see it or hear it. Now, the yuan isn't going to replace the dollar. The Chinese have a lot of monetary protections. They protect the yuan. So he was saying that the thing with the dollar is you can take two relatively insignificant nations, Chad and Bangladesh. They don't really want to trade in each other's currencies, maybe even in their own currency, because their own currencies don't really have or hold much value, or the fluctuation in their currencies is just too volatile. So they would rather trade in a more stable currency, and that would be the U.S. dollar. Now, would they be willing to trade in yuan, or whatever you call the Chinese currency? I think they would be, and it has proven itself to be a stable, strong currency. The problem with trading in yuan is that the guy was saying, China protects its currency a lot. They would allow you to buy it, but then they would want to be the stewards of that money. So Chad, the nation of Chad, would buy the money, park it in a Chinese account in China. Bangladesh would buy yuan and again park it in the bank in China, and the money would exchange hands within Chinese banks within China. China really wouldn't let that money leave China because they controlled our money so much. Now, if that's true, and I think it is, that limits the yuan from actually challenging the U.S. dollar. You could buy U.S. dollars and transfer them around, take them home, do whatever you want. Even though the U.S. dollar is really backed by faith, it's not really backed by any commodity or money. Well, it's backed by oil, but that's coming to a swift end. By swift end, it could take 50 years. But the dominance of the U.S. dollar, I think, is this guy's going slow, and did I flip this camera? I'll show you what I'm doing. Let's see. Focus in. There's a slow car in front of me. You can't see it. We'll flip back. The camera isn't focusing right. Okay, he moved. I got the Al Frank coming in a slow car. I wanted to go around him, but then. So I think that's pretty much the deal with why the yuan won't overtake the dollar and why the dollar will still maintain some strength, and it isn't going to collapse overnight like some people. And I was worried. The collapse of the dollar overnight would affect me a lot, most of you, and most of the Western nations. I think that the collapse of the dollar is inevitable. But it's not going to be an overnight thing, because nations are not going to just drop the dollar, which is still currency, switch over to something new overnight. China does things over a 100-year plan. I think China eventually would like the world to come off the dollar, and the idea of the BRICS nations putting together a brand new currency, not the yuan. Like I said, the way it is structured, it can't overtake the dollar. But a new currency backed by the BRICS nations, by gold, silver, and other commodities, over time, I think can and will displace the dollar. But we're talking 40, 50 years. To be honest, I was kind of worried what people were saying about the dollar's demise, blah, blah, blah. So this guy that I disagreed with and the things that he was saying, he calmed me down. He's right. There are just too many of the 200 and some nations around the world who are not just going to drop the dollar overnight. They are going to hold on to it and hold on to it for a long time. And there really is no viable currency. The Chinese yuan is okay with one-on-one transactions. Saudi Arabia and China want to trade with the yuan. That's good for them. But Saudi Arabia still needs to trade in dollars with other nations. So I don't see. Oh, for those of you that are here, since I'm driving, I can't read your comments. So I'm just pretty much talking to the camera. And if you jumped in and you heard me earlier, I'm going to touch on 3 issues. So the BRICS thing, what I'm talking about. Oh, I do see some of the comments. Be careful, multitasking. Yeah. Thank you. I guess I can. First time I've done this, because I haven't uploaded in a while. Anyway, so like I'm telling you, I'm not worried. Like, it was all over the internet. I've seen it on TikTok. I've seen it on YouTube. The demise of the dollar, that the dollar's going down. And I have to agree with this one guy. I don't see it happening. The demise will be a slow demise over the next 50 years, in my opinion. It's not going to happen in June or July overnight. Now, the other thing I heard, and this is brand new to me. It was off the radar until I saw it on TikTok. Something called FEDNOW, and the murder of the CEO of the Cash App. Apparently, the Federal Reserve is making a digital currency or a payment processing app called FEDNOW, N-O-W, I believe it's one word. And what this new system will do is basically all transactions are going to go through FEDNOW. So if you buy something on Amazon, you pay Amazon, but your payment information goes to the FEDNOW app and then goes to Amazon. Anything Amazon transpires with you goes back to the FEDNOW app and you. Whether you go buy gas at the gas pump, that transaction, FEDNOW at the application becomes the middleman for all electronic transactions. Be it you withdrawing money from the ATM, buying food, getting a Snicker bar at 7-Eleven. That the FEDNOW app, similar to what the Chinese systems, this is supposed to go in effect in July. It documents everything you buy, and that the Fed, and that they want to implement this nationwide. Everything, they want to eliminate the dollar eventually, and implement a digital currency. Your paycheck is all deposited through your account. Everything's done through your account, just like China does, and all transactions are funneled through the FEDNOW app, which is basically a ledger. It documents all transactions, everything you buy. You buy a gun, they know. You buy ammo, they know. You buy food, you buy Snickers, you buy milk, they know everything that you buy. The federal government. FedNow through the Federal Reserve would be private, but hey, it's the federal government. Now, what I was hearing about what the FedNow app will do, it can restrict what you can buy. So, now not initially, but the ability to restrict your purchases are in the FedNow app. Look up FedNow. I need to start touching on this. This is something new to me. So let's say you're me, and they don't like me, and they don't want me to buy ammo. Well, they will, the FedNow, and I go to the ammo store, I give them my debit card or whatever. Remember, they want to eliminate cash, and I try to buy ammo. The transaction will go from the store through FedNow. FedNow will say, no, he's not allowed to buy ammo, and it will not allow the transaction. If you're obese, and they don't want you buying, lard, cooking oil, and you go to the market and they're beeping it. When that transaction goes to the FedNow app at the supermarket, it's going to come up. No, he can't buy this, he can't buy that, he can't buy the other thing. Now, where that ties in with the Cash App, a lot of crypto and tech CEOs over the last year or two have just started dying, getting killed, drowning, mysterious death. And the conspiracy theorists will say that there are nefarious forces behind the scene eliminating people who can compete with the federal government's FedNow app, compete in digital transactions, and Zelle, Cash App, others, even some of the crypto exchanges will provide the common man like me and you an avenue where we can have financial transactions outside of government oversight, knowledge, and control. And that is why a lot of the CEOs of some of these crypto companies, some of these Cash App applications, that this is what the conspiracy theorists say. Not that I believe it, YouTube, but that is why they are suddenly mysteriously dying. The Fed, basically, they're implying that the federal government is getting rid of the tech competition in the digital transaction sector. So I want to touch on that. So touch on the BRICS, touch on the FedNow, and then on the I think I talk about the ruble. So the ruble is back down to pre-war levels. I was reading some of the pro-Ukrainians are like, yeah, death of the ruble. No. Russia has survived immense sanctions, and if after a year of sanctions and the war, the ruble is basically back to where it started before the war, it's an even Steven, it's a wash. Actually, it's better in the wash. You have a pre-war ruble value, meaning the ruble is worth about the same as it was worth 1 year ago, but it's worth the same as it was 1 year ago under sanctions. That is a strong ruble. That is a ruble bearing the burden of the sanctions of the world powers. So I'm not really concerned about that Russia is suffering economically. They're doing quite well. So I think I got my exit coming. Let's see if I can get you guys to see where I'm going. Flip this around. Oh, there we go. So I've told you guys before, this Move that over like that. I told you guys before, I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. That is it's like it's called the World Market Center. I always want to call it the World Trade Center, but it's not. It's the World Market Center. It's not. It's focusing on my phone holder and not the street, so you're not really seeing much. So go back over here. The war in Ukraine. I haven't touched on the war. Let's talk about the war really quick. It's slow. It continues, and Russia's kicking the ass. Bakhmut has been in effect taken. Bakhmut has been taken, but it hasn't been taken, right? Taking something, you usually don't flip on the switch, and all of a sudden you took Bakhmut. The progress of the Wagners and the Russian forces throughout the front line it's going good. I know a lot of guys. There's channels that cover it every day, battle by battle, street by street. It's just it bores me, to be honest. I mean, there's only so many images of a tank blowing up or a drone dropping a grenade on a guy in a trench that I can show you before it becomes redundant. It becomes the same thing over and over. The war is coming to the point where every a decent little update every 2 weeks. It's about enough. For what I provide. I'm not a detailed combat analysis type channel. I think Brian at the New Atlas, he does more of that, but even he doesn't cover it day to day. He has breaks between his coverage on it. As far as I can tell, there's simple. Russia's winning. Russia's kicking the ass. Ukraine does crazy things from now and then. Some of it is admirable. You know, they'll attack here, bomb there. They'll go and bomb or attack within Russian territory. They scheme and they plan, but it's all nothing. It's they're a cat in the jaws of a pit bull being shook around, and every now and that cat will get a get a scratch off, right? And so that's what it is. Unconfirmed. I was on TikTok. I've been following stuff on TikTok. There's a lot of quick little news briefs there. So I was following something on TikTok, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I had heard that I guess Biden is or seriously now considering sending significant number of M1 Abrams tanks to Ukraine. If this is true, this is just a sign of Western desperation. They really, really, really thought that one commenter that I heard from, and I think he's right because I didn't get the information. I don't remember it exactly. Anyways, that Biden was bragging when the war started that he would ruin Russia's economy in a matter of weeks, not months, weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks tops. And well, obviously that didn't happen. He didn't ruin Russia's economy in 3 weeks to 6 weeks. And that the Western powers, again, I've mentioned a lot of this, they really thought that they were going to destroy Russia with the sanctions. They were going to draw them into the war. They didn't really think, I don't think they've ever really thought that Ukraine, even with all the Western help, could defeat Russia on the combat field. They did feel that they could bloody Russia up and send so many body bags home, that in combination with a wrecked economy, which didn't happen, that the Russian public would rise up against Putin and oust him from power. Anyways, none of that worked. It all backfired. If anything, it is the Western economies that are doing badly. And 1 year later, the ruble has, from its all-time highs, has come down and settled at pretty much the same as it was before the war, pre-war highs. I don't really want to pay for parking. Do I have to pay for parking here? I guess so. What the hell, right? I guess if I have to pay for it, I have to pay for it. It's the one thing in Las Vegas. If you go to anywhere decent, you got to go into these parking structures, and I don't think it's too expensive. I think the airport, 30 minutes parking was about $2-3. But anyways, so come on, do I have to go all the way to the top? I'm inside a parking structure over at the Premium Outlet Mall. It's near downtown, near Fremont. So, did I touch? I was touching on the war. So, oh yeah, I was touching on the Abrams. So, if it's true that Biden has gotten to the point where he's really considering sending the M1 Abrams, then that does, in my mind, mean that the U.S. knows that the war is lost, and they just wanted to drag on a little bit longer and maybe put a little bit of scare into Putin by letting them know that we intend to send some more heavy type of equipment. It's too much. It's too little, too late. Um, anyways, I see there's 2 people here now. Thank you for watching this little random update. I wanted to touch on those issues. God, there's so much going. The Budweiser thing, let's get on that really quick before I take off. I got weird lighting right here. I'm not sure why. I got weird light, got a light right across my face. These transgender bull crap. It's all the channels I watch, all the Daily Wire channels, Michael Knows, Ben Shapiro, Salty Cracker, everything I watch is talking about the transgender, the Budweiser ban. I missed the comment. I'm sorry. I'll see if there's a way I could see the comments. Live chat. Be careful. Hi, hey there, hey Russian ally. I've been. Oh, you guys are jumping in just as I was about to get off. Let me see if I can give you guys. Unless you guys want to walk with me up now, but then I'll be talking out in public looking like a weirdo. I know some people do that. They'll take their phone and they'll live stream people walking all over them. As far as the Budweiser thing, I'm boycotting the Budweiser too. I am so. All the commentators talk about the transgender issue. That's not something I really talk about too much. I do talk about it a little bit. It's just not something that I think that you're really interested in it. Not from my show, but that cultural war, that is the big thing with the governments of the world. I was watching in Israel. I know I've just so much going on in the world right now. Benjamin Ben, the Israeli president, right? So they've been having major protests in Israel, and it turns out it's not even Steven. More people actually still support the government and its stance and the existing Israeli government. It is again it came out, and the Israeli president was pissed off at Biden that the U.S. is intervening. It is meddling in Israel, stirring up trouble. They don't like him, and a lot of the protests that you've been seeing in Israel, anti-Israeli government protests, is really, again, CIA, NSA, United States meddling in another country, trying to stir up trouble and trying to eliminate leaders, world leaders that are not falling in line for the U.S. I know a lot of people don't like Israel, but even in Israel, an American ally, that basically, remember this, the U.S. is willing to take the big stab in the back to its own allies when those allies don't fall in line. Israel is not falling in line with the U.S. policy in Ukraine and other aspects around the world, and for that reason, the U.S. is stirring up trouble in Israel. But I was watching these protests in Israel. Among these anti-government protests in Israel, people were flying the Israeli flag and they were flying the rainbow flag. Time and time again, when you get these anti-government protesters that are backed by the West, you see the rainbow flag. The rainbow flag has become the new communist flag, the new anti-government flag. It is not just crazy people flying that flag. It is backed by the U.S. government. Kamala Harris goes to Africa because we want better relationships with the African people. She gets up on the podium, and what does she do? She hammers in the LGBTQ agenda. I heard one of the big commentators mention this briefly. I didn't get all the details, but his basic opinion was that the LGBT agenda is part of the American foreign policy. That's why you see that flag at anti-government protests around the world. Pro-American anti-government protests, whether it be in Moldova, in Serbia, or in Israel. If the CIA is involved, you see the rainbow flag flying against the established government. And and the one commentator, it might have been Michael Knowles, I'm not sure, I don't put that on Michael, but that agenda is government, is being projected. It is part of American policy. It is part of European policy. It is part of Western policy to forward that agenda into countries around the world. Why? Because we want to destroy their traditionalism. We want to destroy their value. We want to destroy their unity. And that type of agenda destroys the family, destroys community. And when you destroy the families and communities, you begin to divide people. You break down people's values. You look what's happening here. You got people confused about their own identity, picking up rifles, going around shooting little children. And I think that is what our government wants to inject around the world. We want to poison the values and traditionalism of people around the world in order to further destroy them and control them. All right, so this is unplanned. This is just me going off the top of my head. I will try this weekend to give you guys a proper show with the graphics and with the correlating stories and all. Those of you that came in and saw this, thank you. I got to do a little bit of shopping. I'm plumping up again. I had lost too much weight, and it was affecting my health, and so I've been eating up. Yesterday I ate. I'm sorry, honey. She gets mad. The other day. I'm getting off the subject. So the other day I went to buy a half gallon of ice cream, chocolate ice cream, right? And it was 2 for 1, so I ended up getting a gallon of ice cream. And honey, she says that should last you 2 weeks. It lasted me 3 days. And then yesterday I ate 2 burgers and fries, and I've just been plumping up again, but my health and my energy seem to have come back up. So I still need to lose weight. I need to get down to about 200. I'm about 230, to be honest. I'm a big boy. But the weight needs to come off gradually. If it doesn't come off gradually, I had lost it too fast. For me, it's unhealthy, guys. So anyways, yeah, so I'm looking at the camera here and I'm all plumped up, big cheeks again. So thank you for watching the show. I'm going to do some shopping here. I got to go wash the car and got a bunch of chores to do. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys and those of you that logged in. So y'all take care. Let me see if I can figure out how to turn this off. I don't even know how to log out. I don't think I've done it on the phone like this before. Save highlight. Let me see if I hit that X. Let's see, is that it? Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Right. Later, guys. I found it. Later.